Welcome to episode 58, Thomas Edison 14 Lessons. This is an outline of episode 57. Lesson number 1, what makes a genius? These are Thomas Edison's own words. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Edison debunked the myth of the born genius. Great news, we all have a chance to be a genius. Lesson number 2, what is perspiration? Working 18 hours a day, Edison was a teenager when he learned to become a telegraph operator.
He taught himself Morse code and practiced sending and receiving telegraph messages for up to 18 hours a day, before finally landing his first job as an operator in 1862, when he was just 15.
Lesson number 3, how do you invent? There are 3 ways. Invention way number 1, to invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. Invention way number 2, try one more time, don't give up. There is no failure, just experiments. Invention way number 3, anything that won't sell, I don't want to invent. Its sale is proof of utility, and utility is success. Lesson number 4, he invented the Invention Factory. Invention will no longer be an act of randomness, but systematically and predictably. Financially, the new inventions will be financed by the old ones.
I produce a minor invention every month, and a major one every 6 months.
Close by the house, the main laboratory building was connected to the outside world by telegraph wires. Dream come true. He filled his lab with the best technicians and the best machines money could buy. He was the first man to conceive of an invention factory, a hive of specialists on a belt line. At the top of the line was supplying the ideas and the inspiration.
But it was because he had this vision of how to become a great inventor.
This was astoundingly revolutionary. I want to invent. I'm going to be about invention, right? I don't really want to be bothered lots of times with very much else.
Lesson number 5, turn each disaster into an opportunity. Example 1, disaster. Edison was kicked out of school after 3 months.
Given just 3 months of formal schooling, he spent the carefree afternoons of boyhood reading his way through the library and obsessively conducting chemistry experiments in the cellar.
Example 2, disaster. He became partially deaf at age 12.
2 accidents occurred. First, he became partially deaf.
Deafness drove me to reading. My refuge was the Detroit Public Library. I didn't read a few books. I read the library.
By then, he'd become aware that he was losing his hearing, the racket of the world growing increasingly dim. But with telegraphy, he found that deafness gave him an edge. When in a telegraph office, he later recalled, I could hear only the instrument directly on the table at which I sat. And unlike the other operators, I was not bothered by other instruments.
His condition made him feel like he could think more and he could concentrate more. He became very introspective. He often felt like he was alone even when there were other people around.
Lesson number 6, start small. For example, his first business was selling candies and newspaper on a train. For example, his first lab was in the same train.
Any 12-year-old boy would naturally go down to the railroad station to seek his fortune. Tom Edison talked the Grand Trunk Railway into giving him the job of selling candy and newspapers on the daily run from Port Huron to Detroit. He also talked the conductor into giving him a corner of the baggage car. In this corner, he set up a chemical laboratory.
Lesson number 7, 50% right, 50% wrong. For example, the iron ore automatic extraction in New Jersey. It costed him $2 million and he wasted 10 years of his life. Edison paid dearly for his mistakes.
As the plant took shape and the technical staff grew to more than 200, the Ogden Works consumed more and more of Edison's time. Finally, in 1894, he moved up to the mine entirely. promising Mina to return home to West Orange on Sundays.
But he ended up building himself a little cabin up there. It was called the White House. It was really kind of grimy and dusty and horrible.
Why did Edison stick with that for so long? It was a technical challenge that Edison really enjoyed taking on. In fact, he later says, he's talking to this assistant in the ore milling venture at the end of it, and they're looking at where they dug out all this ore and big hole in the ground. This guy says, well, you sure wasted a lot of money on that. And Edison said, yeah, but we sure had fun doing it.
Another example of Edison's mistake. After the bruising battle of AC versus DC with Nikola Tesla, he lost control of his own company.
We're going AC. So he was forced out of that game, is really what happened.
Edison had little to do with the merger, and in the course of negotiations, his name was dropped. From then on, the company would be known simply as General Electric.
He had backed the wrong technology, and the end was he lost control.
Lesson number 8. Be competitive and a control freak. For example, he would enter a very crowded and competitive field, such as the light bulb, and won.
Edison was very competitive. The more people who tried to find the answer, the more tempting it was for him to take it on. He was maniacally focused on maintaining control.
In the end, the intensity of Edison's drive proved both blessing and curse. For Edison, there were few more powerful catalysts than competition. I don't care too much for a fortune, he once said, as I do for getting ahead of the other fellows.
Lesson number 8. Time is really the only capital that any human being has, and the only thing he can afford to lose. Lesson number 10. Sleep is lost opportunities.
On a small cot, he took his famous cat naps.
I never found need of more than 4 or 5 hours sleep in the 24. People talk of loss of sleep as a calamity. They better call it loss of time, vitality, opportunity.
Lesson number 11. Edison sees silver lining in everything. For example, the burning down of his lab in 1919.
And also he had his laboratory, which could outdo anybody else.
This is the new lab he built at age 68. It would be many times bigger and better. Lesson number 12. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Lesson number 13. Think. 5% of the people think. 10% of the people think they think. And the other 85% would rather die than think. Lesson number 14. Love experiments. 79 years of experiments. He started his first experiment at the age of 5, when he sat on goose eggs to see if they hatch. He died at the age of 84, having spent 79 years of his life on experiments. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. Wishing more Thomas Edison in you.